Board games, board games, it's what I'm talking about. Board games of that there is no doubt. Board games, I'm in the garden this morning. Board games, and hello, I'm singing. Board games, today you can ask me anything. Board games, and potentially listen to me sing. Board games, I'm singing on and using some time. Board games, I'm starting to struggle to think of rhymes. Board games, hello there, my name is Bez. Board games, and that's what the banner says. Hello, I am Bez. This is approximately breakfast time. It is 10 a.m. and yeah, we've got people having breakfast. I mean, have breakfast when you want. If it's your dinner time, if it's whatever, just thank you for watching along. And I am going to have a bit of a blether about board games. Busy breakfast, board game blether. Now, there's a little bit of a routine. So this Friday is going to be the last Ask Me Anything for a while. I think I remember when I started this whole show, I was like, okay, what can I do? And then I thought, okay, well, I'll let people ask me questions and that'll be fun. And then it was like, hey, Facebook people, I'm starting a show. Do you have any questions for me? And yeah, I got some. And then it was basically a sort of ask me anything for several days until I started mixing in the reviews of other things, the talking about my own games, and now the interviews with other people. And I don't want it to be all interviews with other people, but I'm quite enjoying the reviews. And I think I'll probably want to focus on them and the interviews a little bit more in the next few weeks. Anyway, so that's a bit of background. So today is the last Ask Me Anything for quite a while. If you've got anything you want to ask, please do so. And morning, Alan. It is lovely to have you with us as always. A little bit of housekeeping. If you are enjoying this show, then please do comment. Let me know that you're watching. Share it to your friends or anyone who you think might be interested. And if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, then please give it a little thumb or whatever. And that is that. Alan has, I'm almost scared. Like, Alan apparently has quite a list of questions. We'll see what happens now. So carrying on. Brilliant things. Here's a little thing that is brilliant. I want to talk about photos, and I want to talk about cameras and food. I mean, not only video cameras, because it's pretty cool that I'm able to broadcast myself into your screen, like through the magic of the internet. That's pretty intense when you think about it. And the fact that, hey, I'm here seeing all these questions pop up, and like, Alan writes them, and then I see all these questions, and I'm excited, and we've got a little bit of that interaction going along. That is pretty brilliant. But also just cameras like on your phone or whatever, the ability to go around and cycle and just say, hey, this is a fun moment, let me take a picture of it. Let me take a picture of us finishing off Pandemic Legacy Season 2. Well, that's not happened yet, but let me ask my friend to take a video of me doing a hula hoop so that I can see exactly how I look when I can't see myself in the mirror, because maybe I want to check out the angle of my head or whatever, and do, now that I'm starting to do hula hoop in a more performative way. So that is a brilliant thing. Games I've been playing. Games. What have we been playing? What are their names? Games. I played multiple games yesterday, by which I mean more than one. I've played 3 games, I think. I started off playing Micro Muckle. I played that a few times, did some recordings of it to try and teach it, which you can now find that tutorial up on YouTube. So if you're intrigued by Micromuckle, or if you can't quite understand what's going on when I'm doing the live streams, maybe that will help you. Or indeed, if you don't watch my 8 to 10 p.m. live streams, you're not interested in them, but you just want to learn how to play Micromuckle in 7 minutes. It's a bit shorter, it's a bit cleaner. Hopefully it works out. I'm honestly open to feedback. This tutorial video is like, to me, version like 0.1. So tell me what's wrong with it, and I will appreciate that. I played that. I played Mini Muckle next, again doing a video, and that's been scheduled to upload next week. And then we did the live streaming, at which point we played Micromuckle again a few times, and then even Freemel using half a deck. And I've been thinking, I enjoy these games. I'm incredibly biased. I made them. But Freemel, what if it was only 18 cards? Because Freemel, it seems to be more interesting at the end, where you're kind of trying to make those final few letters work out. There is a high luck aspect in it. And so it feels like, yeah, maybe if the maximum score is 3 sets, i.e. 30 points, maybe that's enough. And you can play it that way, or indeed you could play it through the entire deck, and maybe that would be an interesting thing. Have you been playing any games? Let me know. Alan Outson, wow, this is quite a list of F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V. Oh, okay, V and W and X, Y, and Z, Alan Outson had to kind of cheat. And I'm going to try and answer all of them, but do so fairly quickly. And if anyone else has any other questions, that there will be time, because I know I often tend to ramble, but I can talk quickly. So that's games I've been playing. And if you've been playing any games, let me know. What have you been playing? What have you enjoyed? And daily highlights, what have you enjoyed? I'd love to know. Daily highlights, Alan says that they play Doddles. Oh, Alan didn't enjoy it very much. Let me know why. Although the others loved it, so I'm glad he did, because I guess I feel slightly responsible. I mean, I never want to say, oh, this game's for everyone, or this game's going to be brilliant for everyone. Oh no, that's not what you want to do. You don't want to create beautiful models. That's completely antithetical to the point of the game. Doddles is all about creating vague facsimiles of something that you can only, that bears a vague similarity to what it is. So yeah, sorry if that's, I feel like you didn't understand the fundamental point of the game if you thought you were going to get to create actual, representational models. The whole point of Doddles is that you're not I'm not good at anyway. Let's leave that. So daily highlights, 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 not involving tights. I can't think of a good rhyme right now for daily highlights. So daily highlights. Yeah, I didn't wear any tights yesterday. I did wear leggings. That's not a particular highlight. Probably just, yeah, yesterday, I guess getting out of the house. I often have Chris over here. Chris is the person that I have doing a lot of admin. We were recording the video together. Obviously, it is. I mean, I keep saying, oh, is it work what I do? Is it work? And yeah, it is work. It's fun. It takes energy. And I enjoy the creativity. And it's maybe just because so much of my life was spent just following orders. And it's like, okay, fill it out these shelves as quickly as you can. Okay, bring all these things in the front. So, when you're at the supermarket or when you're cooking food, it's very output driven. You just need to do it as quickly as you can. But when it's something like, okay, yeah, I get to spend a little bits of time and care just doodling on envelopes, I kind of feel like I'm cheating. Like, is this even work? And when I'm making a video, is that even work? And there's definitely parts of my, why am I doing these scare quotes? Parts of my job that I don't enjoy, but there's definitely a lot that I do, and probably rather than say to myself, oh, is this work, I should just feel blessed that I enjoy parts of it. Anyway, so I went to, rather than Chris coming over here so we'd work together, I went over there, we worked together, and then we did have a half-hour wander. That was probably a daily highlight for me. And also doodling on envelopes. I kind of enjoyed that, and then getting them out to the post. Sense of personal satisfaction. Getting stuff done. Yay for getting stuff done. That is my daily highlights. Now, let's move on to the main topic. It's not a biopic. My rhymes are getting worse. Ask me anything, as it says down there. I will run through Alan Oudson's alphabetical questions, and then if anyone else has anything to say, then I'll catch up to you afterwards. So, here are Alan's Ask Anything alliteratively and alphabetically. Best British board game. Well, I'm incredibly biased, seeing as I'm a British designer. If we're talking future, that I'm aware of, I'm still, I've got high hopes for Seize the Power. I don't know how it'll exactly turn out. There's a lot of development work to be done. But I'm going to say categorical. I'm incredibly biased, but I love categorical. Yes, I made the deck. Tom Cauldron made the basic game. I did a lot of development. You can't play it online, but in person, categorical is my favorite game, just because you can play with different categories, and it's not as if, oh, I know more board games than you, and I've learned all the board games, so now I'm always going to be beating you. Because now we can switch to a new category. Now we can switch to song artists and musicians and bands, and you might beat me if your knowledge of those things is greater than mine. So that is, in my opinion, the best British board game is categorical. Catan or Carcassonne? Carcassonne. For me, Carcassonne. Catan, I love it. Klaus Teuber, brilliant designer. Dawdle's better design, in my opinion. Catan, great game, nice trading going on. You really need, well, firstly, the player counts is a bit more restrictive. You just can't work with two because there's no trading going on. It's not interesting. That takes away the whole interesting part of the game. Carcassonne, it works with two, it works with three, like Catan, where if one person's more experienced, the other two people can gang up on her, or them, or whatever. And so, yeah, Carcassonne, it's still got a little bit of political interplay, like, hey, do you want to join my city? But I prefer the joy of building up a map together, rather than the, hey, let's build up big villages and see them grow and get more resources. For me, Carcassonne. Dungeons and Dragons or Doom. I appreciate Wolfenstein 3D and also Doom for what they did for, like, back in the day. Dungeons and Dragons definitely did a lot more for the sort of history of gaming. I mean, there was like Wolfenstein 3D before Doom, and there's Dungeons and Dragons after. There was nothing like Dungeons and Dragons before. I mean, I feel like Doom is more of an evolution, Dungeons and Dragons more of a revolution, and I personally feel like Dungeons and Dragons is still more relevant today compared to Doom. Dungeons and Dragons all the way. Exceptionally exciting experience. Exceptionally. Okay. I used to have a song about this. Went to PP, met my nemesis, got a kayak, just the two of us. Sea got stormy, waves rockin' and rollin', boat tumbled over for a moment we were dying, and for a while, thought I'd die. When the kayak tumbled over the side, passerby cries, "You all right?" But the truth is, I never felt so alive. So, yeah, that's the thing I've not sung for probably years. So basically, the point is, I went to Kopipi. We decided to get a kayak to Monkey Island, which is a genuine place. We decided, okay, let's not bother getting the life jackets. It's like $5 or $10 if you get the life jacket. So like just $5. Let's go cheap. And then we were paddling all the way to Monkey Island, and then the sea. For a moment, we were like literally not touching water because that's how it felt. Was like jumping us literally into the air. It was crazy, and then flung us over, we collapsed, and then for a moment, just for a briefest moment, I thought, oh my god, the kayak's on top of me, and what's going to happen? And then I am a decent swimmer, but I kind of managed to come out and then grab onto the kayak, and I was like, phew. And then we managed to, together, myself and Ryan Estrada, we pulled the kayak over, and then at this moment, a ship of people comes over, and one of them says, hey, are you all right? And then we just kind of give a thumbs up because, yeah, so that is us. So, yeah, that was an exceptionally exciting experience. In the end, we managed to row over to Monkey Island. I did lose my spectacles in this kind of catastrophe. Or catastrophe. No, that doesn't work. But we had to make our way around half the island to even, get to the beach from the beach, which is basically like as in the place where they filmed the film, The Beach. I've still never seen the beach. I've seen the beach from the beach, but I've not seen the beach. Favorite film? Favorite film is Belvedere Rendezvous. If I had to pick just one, it's an animation. It's about a cyclist who is competing in the Tour de France, and this cyclist gets captured by the French mafia and is kind of put on a cycle like a zombie because apparently this cyclist is a bit dim. I'm not sure what's going on, why all the cyclists aren't actually even trying to escape. Anyway, so this cyclist just kind of goes on a bicycle, like a motionless exercise machine, to crush grapes, and that's what the French mafia is doing, getting all these cyclists that they've kidnapped to crush grapes. And then in the end, of course they get rescued at the end. But the point is, I've just told you the entire plot of the film, but it's just such a joyous affair. People getting together and such joyous jazz music. There's like the swinging bell, the rendezvous, voodoo can whoop doo. And there's like allusions to Fred Astaire, and that's Josephine Baker, and it's a really good film. I love Belvedere Rendezvous. If you meant like, let's go with that. Greatest German game. Oof, that's a lot of games, aren't there? Greatest German game. I mean, Carcassonne. Carcassonne's German, isn't it? Wow. I mean, let's see. Yeah, Carcassonne, I'm just looking up, is by Klaus Jürgen Rede, which kind of sounds like a German name. So there we go. I'm provisionally given Carcassonne just because it was on my mind, the title of Best German Game. Congratulations. Although now I think about it, all these other things are coming. So yeah, there's Quacks of Quedlinburg, there's The Mind, there's Wolfgang Warsch is pretty good. I do like Doddles. I mean, oh goodness, this is like, you've really got me. Tell me what you think. Everybody in the comments, tell me what you think is your favorite German game, because my favorite games that I think of, okay, let's ignore my own, obviously, and I'm not even German, but I would say, okay, go, Twin It. I do really love Twin It. And then I'm thinking, yeah, I don't really have a solid top 10. Maybe one day I will try and attempt something. I would say that probably The Mind, just because The Mind is so revolutionary and it's so unlike anything else. I know it's like not a complicated mess of systems, so it doesn't really epitomize what German design is. Because when you think of German design, when I think of German design, I either think of the old stuff like, 20 years plus, like Carcassonne, things like that, obviously Catan, or I think of heavier stuff like Demacher and whatnot, or I might think of Rainer Knizia, who's just been crazy prolific. But yeah, even though it doesn't really epitomize German design, I'm going to go for the Mind, just because for me that's something that my old housemates, Nicole and Chris, love to play. And so yeah, it's well done, Wolfgang Warsch, the Mind. So yeah, I'm going to award the Mind as the best German game, and so that is the Mind. Yeah, good game. Fairly sure I talked about that. Happiest holiday. Do you mean like? Well, if we decide between Christmas, Aiden or Rose, my birthday, I'm going to choose. I would choose my birthday probably because my birthday, especially in recent years, it's been an excuse for people to come over. This year it will have to be a severely closed group. But yeah, my birthdays are a good time. If it had to be one individual holiday, I would say yeah, maybe the second birthday that I had after McCall moved in. That was pretty good because the first birthday after McCall moved in, you know, I was still getting to know the friends, and McCall is a lovely person, but we hadn't. Yeah, I hadn't, and our friends are lovely, but I hadn't gotten to know them, so I felt like, oh, I'm not really here yet, and why aren't any of my friends here? And oh, there's only like 2 people, and I felt a bit sad because McCall had so many people, and I'm not going to lie, I felt a bit jealous. But then after that, I was like, oh, now I know these people, and now I'm talking about, now I'm feeling like these people are my friends as well. Alan Alton says, probably Bonanza. That is a good game. I prefer I'm the Boss to Bonanza personally. For me, I'm the Boss is the game that made me get rid of Bonanza because Bonanza feels a little bit more about the mechanisms, even though it's a lighter game. I'm the Boss felt a little bit more like it allows for more personal interplay and negotiation. But that's a solid answer. Yeah, that's another top designer. Agricola, they made Patchwork as well, right? Bonanza, yeah, great games. Inspiring individual. I'm going to say Mark Rosewater, for me, has genuinely been a bit of a role model. Mark Rosewater is the head designer of Magic, and whilst I appreciate that they left their job as a staff writer for Roseanne, they wanted to be a writer for television, and then they left it to go and work in board games to follow their dreams. So well done, Mark Rosewater. That was quite an inspiring thing to do, because you're like, okay, let's give it a shot. And it wasn't like they even got to be a designer or anything for a while. I mean, yeah, they did have some privilege, and they did have a job lined up. But yeah, this Mark Rosewater talks so much about design and about their approach to design and about kind of thinking about the players, about holistic views, and also about the approach to families and relationships. And that is something that I'm really inspired by their notion that priorities are not priorities unless you prioritize them. And it made me realize, you know, talking about like that whole rant that I went about Gabe Barrett yesterday, where you can't give charity to literally everyone. You have to prioritize who you give charity to. And that's all from Mark Rosewater, who said that they don't go on holidays with Magic the Gathering so often, even though Magic the Gathering would gladly send them to far off countries, not right now, but you know, this time last year for sure. And Mark Rosewater declines that because they want to spend time with their family. And that's an inspiring thing. It makes me realize, yes, I could spend all my time doing trying to work on Yogi Jr., for example, in case, or just working. And if I want to ever stop working. I need to at some point just say, okay, I've got to cut off, and then I've got to spend time with people in the household, other people, and foster relationships. Even though I'm not going to get out to go to dancing, if I want to, at some point I need to say, yeah, I'm doing this no matter what. I need to allocate at least, like this morning, I managed to do my hula hooping, and I did that for like about nearly half an hour, and it was like quite an intense workout. Whilst hula hooping, I'm literally like slapping my thighs, slapping my bum, and like turning this way, turning that way, and then I kind of do my squats, all whilst hula hooping. And then this morning I did feel like a little bit of burn in the core, which is probably a good sign. But yeah, Mark Rosewater, good on you. And Mark Rosewater is quite free, and they don't talk too much about, you know, their personal life. You know, if you ask them about their sex life, they'd probably just, you know, block you or something, I imagine. But because that's not the kind of, that's incredibly inappropriate to ask anybody. And like, if you ask me those sorts of personal questions, then, you know, I'll give you maybe one warning. One warning, second strike, you're out. Depending on how perverse the rules are, it might be 0 strikes and you're out. But anyway, Mark Rosewater, super inspiring. Obviously, there's other people who have achieved more for humanity, but also just because Mark Rosewater shares what they're doing, I'm able to learn from them. Jolliest journey. I've had some good times. I've had the privilege of going as a family around the USA back when I was a child. We had a Eurocamp where we kind of went camping through various countries, and it was basically just a big Volvo, a big car with, I believe, 6 of us, mum, dad, 4 kids, and driving around and camping. That was good times. I remember my first solo adventure was, so my siblings are all about 10 years older than me. And one time I was basically gifted an entire holiday. And so I went to Venice, which I just wanted to visit for ages. And I wanted to explore this region and just this beautiful, amazing place where there weren't really roads and there were canals. And so for me, the joviality of the journey was massively jump-started by the lack of jeeps and anything in the road. Okay, you had an occasional motorcycle, but there were no cars, there were no big road vehicles, and so you could wander around, and it was just so peaceful. It was like an entire pedestrianized city. Yes, you occasionally had to get a ferry to go from one of the little islands to the other, but it was all good, and it was just such a nice place. I had a long weekend in there. I was sitting down, I had my little sketchbook. That was actually the birth of where I started my proper visual diary, which I might want to resume, because I remember that being something that made me happy. And then I think I just really enjoy sometimes within a framework, within a safe area, being able to adventure on my own. And so I enjoyed that. And then the other holidays that I really think about when I think, yeah, I enjoyed that, were when I visited Thailand and Singapore and Koh Phi Phi, and a little, and Penang. So going through these territories and going through like Bangkok, Krabi, Koh Phi Phi, Penang, Singapore, Krabi, Bangkok, and then back over the course of 3 months. This was enough time to just be like, yeah, I don't need to do anything. And then one time I remember hearing someone playing, I think it was Tracy Chapman, Fast Car. And it was like, yeah, this is a really good song. And that's not been listening to music for a while. I've just been enjoying the music of the nature. I'm talking about Usagi Yojimbo, my favorite comic character, who in one of the comics, no, I should actually update that because I've not read any of it for about 5 years. So there's probably a good few books for me to make my way through. But anyway, Usagi Yojimbo, in one of the stories, a character says, oh yes, there's three types of music: the music of humans, the music of nature, which humans are increasingly blind to. And that's part of why he sits out here, to be able to hear the birds. And maybe, I don't know if you can hear little bits of that background noise. And then third is the music of the spirits, which I don't know if I believe in, but it's just a nice aspect. Anyway, so going there, reading books, having a bit of time. But I think I enjoy going to a place and having no responsibilities, and that for me is a really nice thing. And yeah, as gone in life, maybe I always feel like, yeah, I need to get stuff done. I need to be working on this. And yeah, I think that, yeah, it is really nice to be able to just say, yep, hold up my hands, not doing anything. And down there, Eric's got a question, so I will rush through. Andrew Janners, yep, sure, replay Bonanza if you want. So, Keepius Keepsake, I will do this one. Actually, I'll do this one and then I'll move to Eric's question before moving back. Keepius Keepsake. Oh, I am, I guess, a bit of a hoarder, but I don't have things that I think, oh, this is like a thing that is a massive memento. The closest I have to that is my photographs. And so for that, for me, it was a really big blow to sort of lose my laptop a couple of years ago. I've got a genuinely expensive gift that's been given to me by no much older relative. But for me, I kind of feel like it's a bit of an encumbrance, and I might actually, yeah, just between ourselves, because I'm fairly sure this relative will never watch this video, I might kind of share it with my dad and ask them to kind of turn it into cash or something, because I don't get the having jewelry or something that's really expensive. It feels like a liability. I'm just worried that it's going to be lost. And anyway, yeah, I can't think of anything physical other than games. I guess my keepsake would probably be my sketchbook of the Innerbind drawings. That's probably it. Yeah. If we disregard things that I made, then I don't know, but that's probably my keepsake. Now, hi Eric, it's lovely to have you with us. Would I say there is a common theme in my game designs? If yes, what is it? Well, I like to diversify. There was a while back when I was at City of Games, and it wasn't the first time someone had asked me. Someone said, hey Bez, do you think you'll ever want to make a proper board game? And I said, well, what do you mean by that? Like, do you mean, because genuinely parts of it was, and it's something that I've been asked, and it's like, okay, what do you mean by a proper board game? Do you mean it's got to be at least a certain strategic weight? Do you mean it's got to have a board? Do you mean it has to come in a bigger box and cost more money? I mean, genuinely don't know. If it's above a certain... And I like to make various things. I look at Asker. Asker, I forgot their surname. The person who made that cycling game and also made Panic Mansion. They made that cycling game that's also done... Shigamic has a hand in. Someone in the comments can remind me. What's the cycling game made by Asker? Oof, there's a little insect on my neck. So anyway, I was really impressed because, okay, Flamme Rouge, that's the one. So they made Flamme Rouge and they also made this little Panic Mansion. What's the common theme? So let's look at my games. I guess, like Mark Rosewater says, everyone's got a common theme, and it's down to the artist to kind of thank you. Sorry, I genuinely just saw this comment. You're on the ball. But yeah, so Mark Rosewater says that there's a common theme between any given designer stuff, and it's down to the designer or artist or author to kind of think about what that theme might be. And obviously working out that theme is a nice thing. And for me, let's look at my stuff. So I've made In a Bind / Yogi, let's lump together Yogi, Guru, In a Bind, Junior, whatever. So that's like, okay, consortium stuff. The things where maybe my central theme is that life can be joyful and we can have a good life. Maybe that's my central theme, like a thing of positivity. Because when I compare that to Seize the Power, like, which is obviously, you know, now it's been signed up and I can talk freely about it, and hopefully I'll be looking for playtesters in a few weeks. I'm thinking, yeah, Seize the Power is a game about, yes, bigotry and discrimination and subjugation of power, but it's also about people coming together and saying that, yes, you can come together and you can have a good life. This is possible. Change is possible. You can overcome things. And maybe, yeah, being able to overcome things, because in Yogi / In a Bind, literally, okay, take out all the wild cards in Yogi Guru. You've got, if you mix together Yogi Guru and Yogi, you've got literally about 100 cards. I'm not sure, can't remember the exact number. It's between 90 and it's around 100. I mean, like, it's 100. Anyway, so you can do literally all of those cards if you are skilled enough. So you can, it does get incredibly difficult because, for example, let me just, if you have two hands touching and one finger touching nose and one finger touching foot, and then you still got to draw a card. I don't know if you can see me. I'll take that off so you can sort of. So you've got to, I'm touching my foot down here. And then, like, you've got to draw your next card, which, so it is difficult. It does push you, but it's always technically possible. And that's maybe a thing about Seize the Power, that it's technically possible. That I guess maybe I'm one who tried to push it more of a hopeful message. Maybe Tiz is the person who, so for those who don't know, Seize the Power is a co-creation between myself and Tiz Creel, and Tiz is probably the one who brought in a lot more realism and verisimilitude and also a lot of other ideas into it. But there is a genuine, and yes, it was inside the box, and inside the box was happy with so inside the box was happy with what's going on. And for me, I think it's maybe a hopeful message, because it is saying about like, I listened to the Mind Games podcast. I just finished listening to it, I think yesterday, where it's the first episode. They made it to two-parter of me and his talking with them about Seize the Power and a whole bunch of other things. And they talked about, it's about affirmative act, about kind of people banding together to change things. And so that is a positive thing. Like with Wibble, there is like a strong negative feedback loop in some sense, because each time you do well, each time you win a card, that's a card that you've got to use. And then if you win the round, you've got a permanent obligation now that other people don't have. And so this is a thing that means that people of different skill levels can work together. And I guess getting back to the common theme, I guess the common theme is one of life can be better. I don't know. It's really hard. And I think that something as vague as life can be better could possibly, and we can do better. Maybe like we can do better. Yeah. I don't know. That feels like potentially me just bringing something out of my bum. But yeah, that's the best answer I can give. Going back to the alphabetical questions, back to L. Last lesson learned. I guess the last lesson I learned was that maybe I don't have a common theme between my games, because these questions, it's all about introspection, and I'm learning at the same time as you are, because these are not questions generally that I've... But yeah, literally that is the last lesson learned. So, sorry, it's not very meaningful. Magic the Gathering or Monopoly? Well, Magic the Gathering for sure. Monopoly has... Okay, so I know there are some people who would criticize Magic the Gathering sales model, and the fact that Magic the Gathering is almost like a loot box where it's randomized, and you could say that it's almost akin to gambling. I would say that Monopoly is a game that teaches really bad values. Yeah, I think that Magic the Gathering, fundamentally, it's just a better game. And I would rather spend 20 quid and go to a Magic the Gathering pre-release and have, you know, one afternoon, one evening of fun, even though I know that I might never use those cards again, because the whole deck construction bit, you need to do so much work to make sure that your friends are playing at an equal power level, that that part is incredibly flawed. Unless you're willing to plow in hundreds of pounds every year. But paying 20 quid for an evening's worth of entertainment, for me, seems absolutely reasonable. And yeah, Magic the Gathering continues to innovate, continues to have fresh new ideas, decent work. It's actually trying to be diverse. They're trying to have people like Kiora, and there's like a planeswalker who is like just no one, Ashok, something like that. You know, it is even though the people working on the game, someone made the point that yes, they've got you know, non-binary people and men and women in the R&D team, but they don't have any black folk, and what's up with that? But they are trying to do right. They are trying to do things in a decent way, whereas the other Hasbro license, because Wizards is now owned by Hasbro, Monopoly is just kind of being really terrible. And when you've got stuff like you know, the millennial Monopoly, and like kinds of monopolies, like a lot of the monopolies, I would say, are actually damaging to society. And I would say that if I could cast a wish and say that Hasbro would stop producing one tomorrow, I would ask for Monopoly, them to stop producing Monopoly, because I think that Monopoly, sure, it sells well, and I guess if you're, like, we were talking to KC a couple of weeks back about, was it only like 6 days ago, talking to KC about how in Nigeria they had like so few games, and Monopoly was one of them, because Monopoly is just produced in insane quantities. But if Monopoly wasn't there, yeah, right now, well, now KC's got games. There would be other games that would fill that void. And so I would say I actively dislike, I like what Lizzie Miggy was trying to do. I appreciate that Monopoly was a good game back in the 1930s, back in around the early 20th century, but I think it is in many ways actively damaging right now. And yeah, of course, I am aware of that. And also, if you want, I would recommend everyone read The Monopolists by Mary Pylon, which is a really nice book. You will have to find out where it is available, but there's a really nice book called The Monopolists, which is all about how Monopoly started and also how it was then changed by the Quakers. And yeah, also it goes into the history of anti-monopoly, which is a game that still exists today, and the lawsuits that were going on between Monopoly and anti-monopoly. And so, yes, the Monopolists, I have much respect for its origins, but I have little respect for it right now. And motivations, keeping up with the M's. Thank you very much, Laura. And it's lovely to have you with us. Lovely person. Laura is lovely. What motivates me? It's difficult. If I'm going to be honest, money is a part of it, okay? I'm just saying that money is absolutely a big part of what motivates me. When I first was trying to think of a game to put onto Kickstarter, I tried to think of a game. I mean, I guess it's like, why am I motivated now, and why do I do this rather than work as a teacher, for example? Just thinking of what some other people do, or what's another job? Work as a singer. So as genuinely, it's easier to make a living as a board game designer than as a singer or a dancer. I think that I have more chance of, but games are a thing that I have always loved. My first memory is of a Spectrum loading screen, crawling over to it and seeing this TV that I understood what it was. It was the magic box where you could hear and see things going on. But then there were my siblings, and my siblings were interacting with it and making things appear and move on this TV screen, which was crazy to my mind. And then I started playing Gargonoid when I was old enough. I played Prince of Persia, and I played Lode Runner, and I played, rubbish vertical scrolling shoot 'em ups, and my mind was filled with how these games could work, and my mind was filled with the possibilities of what games could do. And maybe that's part of what motivates me, being able to engage with the possibilities of what games can do. And initially it was drawing maps and for a side-scrolling platformer, because that's what I knew. And then later on it was I went to a sort of summer camp for a few weeks where we had like these fun activities, and we were allowed to kind of choose something like 3 different things each week. So each week we had different classes. Like we were allowed to choose like archery or go-karting or programming or there was like a drama thing, and like it was basically just do what you want and have fun with it. And you could, if you wanted, like go from one to the other, and like just it was basically a bunch of children all having fun together. And I never made like any permanent friends. I can't even remember who was there. I remember like starting to make up lyrics, and one of the kind of camp people encouraging it. And so I guess maybe I have been a creative person generally. And back then I learned to program, and I made games that I now realize, looking back on it, even within an hour of making them, I was like, yeah, this is a bit rubbish. And I remember the first time that I wrote my own Choose Your Own Adventure book, and then I wrote halfway through writing it, I realized, wait a minute, this is really rubbish. Because my Choose Your Own Adventure book, bear in mind I was really, really young, and it was like, do you want to turn left or turn right? And then if you turned the wrong way, then it would take you to a page that says you died. And then if you turned the correct way, then it would be another option. You're in some twisty passages. It's all dark. Do you want to turn left or do you want to turn right? And so over and over again, it would be like, you need to... And so ultimately, that's not an interesting choice. There's no information. There's no narrative. That was a terrible thing. And but I really enjoyed making up games of some sort. When I got like this thing called a TI-83 Texas Instruments graphics calculator, I was programming games on it. And I remember I made like this game called the Isle of Revenge. And I started making the Isle of Revenge and then the Isle of Revenge 2, but I finished the sequel before I finished the original. So I shared the sequel, the Isle of Revenge 2, with all my classmates, which was basically just a horizontal scrolling shoot 'em up. But it was literally on a calculator. So all these pixels, you couldn't make any fancy graphics, but it was like little dots, like the decimal points were the bullets, and maybe a greater than sign was your ship, and little zeros or ones or twos were the enemies, and so you blast those twos. And then the Isle of Revenge, the original one, was like a big adventure game where you went around and people were giving you little quests, and there was a world map. The world map was basically just a set of coordinates that you had in the middle, and then you went to different places, and then if you went to the coordinates and there was a thing on there, it would say at the top, oh, this is what's here, and then you'd press a little button and then it would say, hey, this is my shop, hey, what do you want to buy? Or hey, you've entered this really old house, and then you would actually navigate it. It's like a top-down platformer now, and you're going through. And so I've loved creating things, and even though there are definitely aspects of that I'm really proud of, I'm genuinely proud of the fact that there was kind of 3D puzzles, by which I mean that there was a 2D floor because you were looking top down on it, but then to get to a place on the floor, because you couldn't go past the spikes, you had to go up in the floor and then fall down some cracks on the other side, and sometimes the cracks would make you fall down onto a lower floor because it was kind of like a multi-story house where you were sometimes going up or going down would always take you down the exact same place. So it's kind of like a little maze, but now it wasn't just a maze where you were turning left, you turned the wrong place, you die. Now it was actually give you information. And so the things that motivates me, I would like to inspire joy and in others. That's something that I would like. Truthfully, like getting back to the money, genuinely there's like when I made In a Bind, which is now Yogi, sorry, that's me just blowing insects away so they don't get too close to the whole computer thing. I was thinking, okay, what's an easy thing to print? What am I going to be able to make? Okay, let's make a small deck. Okay, let's make a flux type thing. Oh, this is original. Okay, this is a good game. This is a game that could print a lot. Yeah, I'm going to make this. And I want money because I want to be able to pay my rent and I want to be able to eat. And I would like to be able to travel a little bit and occasionally have have fancy food and be able to buy nice things and like, yeah, sometimes have a takeaway or something once every week. I mean, or sometimes go clubbing. So I am definitely, and so for that reason, earlier this year, I did make up a couple of games, and I am working on games that I believe could be mass market, i.e. could sell potentially 100,000 copies. And that's one thing that motivates me. With Seize the Power, there's a matter of pride. I mean, there's a matter of I want to push the boundaries of what games are, because with that game, I feel like different things motivate me with different projects. Because with Seize the Power, I believe that games aren't just a genre. And I keep coming back to this. Like, games are not like superhero comics. Games are like comics. And you can have really downhearted comics. You can have really depressing comics which are about people being unable to come out, being unable to come together with their family. You can have these really downbeat comics. And that make me feel like, wow, I've been able to share this journey, this personal journey of someone else. And I believe that games are the same, that you can have things like Holding On, The Troubled Life of Billy Kerr, or you can have maybe not things like the Landlord's Game, because that was, well, to be fair, that was invented over 100 years ago. But yeah, I think that I do believe that Seize the Power, we can have a game that makes a political statement. That with Seize the Power, seeing, realizing sadly kind of how important the message is, realizing how in light of, all the sorry, potential sad stuff. Yeah, how much trigger warning do I need to give? Yeah, in light of all the police brutality that's happening, in light of people who are wanting to have people of color and black folk kind of headline their convention and then not allowing them to say what they want to say, no, it and kind of putting words in their mouths and demanding that they make the statement that the company says, by doing that's origins. But it's my understanding of what's happened there. So in light of all that, this is going on. See, there is a message in Seize the Power, and that message is basically for those at the bottom to have any chance. There has to be some sorts of concessions made. People have to work together, and only by working together, by banding together, can you truly try to seize the power. And that's parts of why I make that game, to kind of push the boundaries of what games can be, to try and make something that people will have a good relationship with. I guess I want to kind of ideally be of, I want to feel worthwhile. I want to feel like my life has been worthwhile. And I had a song which I used to sing, and it does not necessarily reflect me right now, but I'm going to sing a quick song. Scared of the thought that I may die with nothing done. Scared everybody will think it just wasn't good enough. Scared it's all a lie, and all I've done is wrong. Scared of a bunch of things, but then ain't everyone. And then it goes on about being scared I push around everybody I know. A shade too much, they decide to go. Shades, they leave me all alone with all of the nothing I sold. And I guess that's a genuine fear that at the end it will be like, yeah, I've not done anything, and kind of look behind me, what on earth has Bez managed to achieve. And now I like to think that Yogi has been something that has brought fun to people's lives. I like to think that the L deck has been a valuable contribution, and Kitty Cataclysm, maybe it's made a few people smile. I want to feel useful. I want to feel like I've been a net positive for the world. I want to feel like when I leave, I will have contributed meaningfully. And I guess I am in some ways an artist, and I guess games are normally my chosen medium. And so, yeah, I want to... I am an entertainer. I'm not just about expressing a thing. I am an entertainer, but I'm also wanting to teach, but not didactically like the Landlord's game, through experiential, Seize the Power might do. I hope that answers your question, Laura. That was a really good question, and I really enjoyed answering it. So thank you for that. I feel like that's almost something that I could spend, a lot more time on. I noticed that it's getting up to 11 o'clock. Going back to DMs, I will quickly go through Alan Oughton's. Naughty or nice? I believe that I am a nice person. I try to be nice. Oddest opportunity. Pass. Speaking of P, proudest product. I am definitely someone who gets a sense of pride from external feedback. So to that end, the fact that Yogi and Yogi Guru has sold, a reasonable quantity, enough that I believe that people are still showing it to their friends, and people are still having fun with it, and that's continuing to grow. I'm proud of it. I'm hoping that Seize the Power might be there, and the L deck. Yeah, I think that the L deck feels like most my baby, and it feels like the L deck, I'm still working on it. I'm going to be working on it for a long time to come, but maybe in 5 years it will be like where I'm really proud of it. Seize the Power feels like it might be, in some ways, my biggest contribution to gaming. We will see. Questionable-list question. Yeah, this question itself, this is pretty questionable. What's that all about, Alan? I mean, naughty or nice? I mean, some of these questions are questionable. Rarest rarity. Now, this is just even getting more questionable. What's that all about? Come on, Al. No, I genuinely respect the alliteration. Rarest rarity. Mythic rare. Mythic rare is the rarest rarity for Magic the Gathering, but there's the other insanely rarest rare with rarest rarity is bespoke. Bespoke is the rarest rarity. Someone makes something just for you, they draw it, it's one of a kind. That is the rarest rarity. Saddest song. I can't think of it. Terraforming Mars or Terra Mystica. Truth be told, I have only played Terraforming Mars. I liked it, I didn't love it. I'm going to go with Terra Mystica just purely based on that. If I got to play one, if you were to offer me, hey, Bez, here's a game, and I have just been isolating myself with literally no one else, and we can play this together, and I've gone through this chemical shower, and let's play a game, I would go for Terra Mystica right now. Usefulest utensil. Well, I guess you've got the fork, the spoon, the knife. You can cut with the edge of something, like you can sort of cut with the edge of a spoon. If you really can't cut, like if it's something too tough to cut, then you can always pick it up and cut it with your teeth. I feel like, spoon is the most essential, because if it's liquid, okay, what are you going to do? Like with the curve of the fork? No, it's clearly the spoon. The spoon is where it's at. Come on. Vampire or werewolf. So assuming that werewolf is like wares, like a warehouse, I'm going with werewolf because I don't know what a werewolf is. So that sounds like quite innovative. But if you meant werewolf, like with an E, if that was just a typo, I don't have much opinion. X, Y, or Z. Well, according to the L deck, Y is the most useful letter. And yeah, that's why there's two of them. And there's definitely a lot of times when I think, oh, I could really use a Y here. But not so often with the X or Z. So those are all the answers in alphabetical order. Alan says, awesome at answering. Alan's asking anything literally and alphabetically. And well done, Alan, at all your alliteration. Alan's alliteration ascends awesomeness. There we go. Thank you. So I think that brings us to a close. If anyone has any really quick questions, then you can ask it. But let me do a quick recap. So to recap, we've had a whole bunch of alphabetical questions from Alan, which was fun. Eric asked if there was a common theme in game designs, and I couldn't really think of one, maybe. And maybe life can be better. You can try harder. If we work together, we can accomplish things. Laura says, what motivates me? And it depends on the project. It might be money. It might be instilling joy. It might be just wanting to play around with the game intellectually. It might be just wanting to pass on a message. Yeah. And that was, thank you for all the questions. That was really lovely to be here. And that is going to be my last Ask Me Anything. at least for this month. I'm going to make them a bit less common from now on, and probably do a few more interviews and reviews. What am I looking forward to? I am looking forward to seeing people for playtest. I've got a bit of a video date, which is something I'm looking forward to in the afternoon. And if it's it might be raining this evening, I might go out, or I might actually cook for the household. Hopefully they will appreciate it. We will see. I'm looking forward to just interacting with people in some way. Daily hope / ambition. Let's keep fighting for what is right. Let's keep working to effect change because things are messed up. Let's keep working, and thank you to everyone who does so. The next stream is whoops, let me get rid of that Friday bit. Friday is ? So next stream is tomorrow, where I'm interviewing Talita Ryan, who's a queer board game designer of color from Berlin. We're going to be talking about their first game, Dugo Dash, and its origins as a somewhat sexual, somewhat queer-centric game, and that's going to be interesting. And then I'll be reviewing Photosynthesis, doing a bit of a brainstorm on Monday. I might actually be doing some development. And then, yeah, I'll do all those things that you saw down below. If you do like this stream, then please always, it's lovely to hear from you. It's lovely to have you asking the questions. So thank you, Alan, so much for always joining in. Thank you, Eric. And Laura, it's lovely to have you all join me and to know that you're enjoying the show. So thank you, and if you are watching, please always comment, let me know that you're here, and I really appreciate it. If you think that other people will enjoy it, then please always feel free to share the next show, and from it, I really do appreciate it. And that is my next stream, and I have been Bez. This has been the Bezzy Breakfast Board Game Bledder, and if you want to find me, then you can find my website, stuffbybez.com, twitter.com/stuffbybez, instagram.com/stuffbybez, twitch.tv/stuffbybez, facebook.com/thingsbybez, because Facebook doesn't let you have the F and the B next to each other. Although it does let you have F and B next to each other in the page name, but not the URL, so you can search for Stuff by Bez on Facebook, but it is facebook.com/thingsbybez. And you can also email me on stuffbybez@gmail.com over there. And that is me. You have been lovely. And for now, stay safe, stay strong, stay sane, and stay super. Bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. Now it's time to go. Oh, sorry, Andrew, I didn't. Yeah. Bye, but it's because I was skimming through all the things, and then Andrew's name also starts with an A, and you don't have your own Twitch things, so it looks a bit similar. I'm very sorry, Andrew, for missing you. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. Now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye-bye.